is Bishop Mike Okonkwo, presiding bishop of the Redeemed Evangelical Mission, TREM. He reflects on how the Nigerian church has grown over the decades and the role it plays in the nation's political fabric, from the days of colonial missionary movements to the rise of Pentecostalism. The Nigerian church has undergone tremendous transformation. Bishop Mike Okonkwo is one of the country's most respected clerics. He notes that the church has become more than a spiritual sanctuary. It is now a major stakeholder in Nigeria's socio-political journey. The bishop observes that while the church has gained influence, challenges remain. Critics argue that some churches have become entangled in the pursuit of power, blurring the line between faith and politics. Yet leaders like Bishop Okonkwo insist that the church must guide, not dominate Nigeria's political space. Joining me on the show tonight is Bishop Mike Okonkwo, the presiding bishop of the Redeemed Evangelical Mission. Hello, Bishop, and thank you for joining us on the program today.
Thank you, Femi, for having me, and thank you, viewers, for watching.
Well, Bishop, it's the countdown to your 80th birthday. A lot of people look forward to this milestone. But let me start by asking how you maintain, mental sharpness and emotional health as you continue your ministry and leadership.
Well, one thing that one must never do is to go to bed and think that you should retire. As long as you are willing to learn and willing to be open to new ideas, you will remain sharp. You remain at the cutting edge. You must never come to a point, as long as you are breathing, that you stop reading, stop learning, and stop, making your input in the society around you. Yeah.
Well, looking at the evolution now of the church, especially the growth or the rise of Pentecostalism, how would you say, things has changed? Because I must say, Bishop, that the church right now is facing serious criticism in various quarters. Sometimes it's about doctrines, sermons, teachings, and what have you. But really, what has changed and how has the church transformed over the years?
Let me say that the church has done very well as far as the Nigerian is concerned, because I remember that in the early 60s, 70s, most of the churches, not much was heard about the church, both the Orthodox and what we know today as Pentecostals. But from every indication, you can see that the church occupies a prominent role, and we're playing our own part in the development of a nation. Today, churches are building universities, building hospitals, and also helping in social development around them, wherever they are, making impact in the society, which is actually what the church is meant to be. Irrespective of the criticisms, there is really no sector in human endeavor that does not face criticism. Despite the criticisms, I will score, the churches in Nigeria at least at 90%, 95%, we've done real well. Those who are having doctrinal differences, as you may have seen, observed, more often than not, is a case of ignorance. Because when you truly understand the different dispensations that we function in, as far as our faith is concerned, you don't have any reason to fight. Once there is unity in the fundamentals, and then liberty in non-essentials and charity in all things, there will be nothing to fight about.
Indeed, Bishop, you scored the church 90 to 95%. That's excellent, And you also said that the church has played a significant role in contributing to nation growth and development, especially with establishment of hospitals, schools, and so many other, providing other social amenities. But, one of the criticisms, have been about the universities. Some people say, yes, we know that, the church is trying to bridge the gap and ensure access to universities. But it appears as if that access, is relative. Because some people say, these universities are built, but not all church members can even access it because they are quite expensive, Bishop.
Okay, well, I've heard that also, but the argument should not be just one-sided. I mean, the universities that the churches have established are established in Nigeria. Because when you want to look at the fact that some of them are very expensive, you think on the environment where they are functioning. This is why we need, proactive leadership in this country, so as to ensure that there is a level playing ground for all. For instance, those schools are going to run on. Now, I don't want you to think that I'm holding brief because I don't own a university, but I want to tell you that most of them are running on generator, and they have got to pay for it. And if they are going to give quality education to the people who come to those schools, then they must be able to pay the teachers well. Most of the public schools, the teachers are not well paid. Every now and then they go on strike. These are the issues we should look at. You can't just look at it piecemeal. It should be looked at holistically. Some of them when you go to most of the public schools, you are not even sure of when you are going to graduate. But in these private schools, you are guaranteed that after 4 years, depending on your course, you graduate and leave. So these are the reasons why probably, and then in some public schools, some of the teachers are forced to look at other ways of sustaining themselves because of the minimal wage they are getting. But in those schools, they are well paid. They focus on training and education of the children. So these will make for the increase in the school fees. So you can't just look at it from one side, because if you do, you'll be making a lot of mistakes.
There's some people say, shouldn't there be, some kind of rebate for especially children of the poor who are members of these churches and who have also contributed their widow's mite to these developments?
But no one talks about the scholarships that they receive. A lot of them also get scholarship from beginning to the end. A lot, not just few, out of those same people. So this is it. You can, I mean, it will be wrong. It will be an unfair judgment to look at it from the standpoint of, you can't open a school, then it would generate to the same thing we are having in public schools. You can't spend money, open the school, and then you make it a free school. How do you pay? How do you pay the bills? When there are no electricity, no security, you have to provide almost everything that the government is meant to provide, and you are going to pay for it. So these are the factors that make for the expensive nature of most of these schools.
Well, let's talk a bit about governance. Nigeria returned to democratic rule in 1999, and since then we've had this unbroken civilian to civilian transition. But over time, from your own assessment, Bishop, how would you say governance has helped improve lives and livelihood of Nigerians? We've seen successive governments come and go with different kind of policies, but when you still look at it, there's still a far cry from where we should be. And some people say, well, indeed, more and more of our citizens are still below the poverty line, with insecurity, rising inflation, and a whole lot still facing the country today as some of some of the challenges. What's your own view on how governance has helped impact lives and livelihood?
Well, we can thank God for where we are today. However, it's an open secret that we are not where we are supposed to be as a nation, given the resources that God has placed on our land. And I think that one of the major causes is because the wrong people have always occupied the position of governance. The system has not allowed for those that the citizens want to be in governance to get in there. That's why the need for electoral reforms. We need electoral reforms in this country It's very important if we must get so as to ensure that this idea of godfatherism in our electoral system, this idea of your votes not counting, it must be taken seriously. Until that happens, people will keep on using money to get into political positions. And when they get there, the natural phenomena is for the individual to know how to make back his money and not to serve the people. Governance must return back to making the people who are sitting at the circle of leadership to know that they are there to serve the people and not to lord it over the people. It will make you to serve them. It will make you to do the right thing. And we'll begin to see the dividends of democracy. So presently, we have not seen it because the system does not allow for it.
Well, you said the system does not allow for it, but it's a democracy. We have had election cycles, and elections have also thrown up our leaders. We have seen citizens line up to cast their ballot in electing or choosing who governs them. Are you then saying that, these elections are not a reflection of the people's wish? And even our electoral reforms we've had over time. Yes, there's still a clamor for more improvement, but are you saying these electoral reforms we've had over time have not been quite impressive?
Everyone knows that our elections have not been very straightforward. You know that. I mean, look at the events that happened in the last election, for instance. How can you tell us and go all over the world and tell us that the beavers are going to work real time? Real time. You assured us, and billions were put in. Well, if I were the president, honestly, such chairman of our electoral system should be put in jail. How could you spend such amount of money, 300 and how many billions of money, and we are saying that at a particular point that there was a glitch? What does that mean? And yet other offices were able to go directly with the beavers. But when it came to the presidential, he couldn't. I mean, I don't understand it. We still have, for me, it's an embarrassment that countries that are just around us, they are little countries, are able to conduct at least near free and fair election. And here we are, the giant of Africa, up till now, still struggling with election. We still, handling our electoral system in a primitive way. For me, it's an embarrassment, and it has to change. I've said it umpteen times that if it is the only legacy our President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will give to us as a nation, where there is a level playing ground for any citizen in this country to be able to run for office and be sure that he can get into office without any assistance based on his qualification and based on his capacity. If that's the only thing he can give to this country, he has done the best for us. Because you don't want a situation where some people are feeling that it is their birthright to govern the country and no other person has right. It must not be so. That this entitlement mentality must stop. Nigeria should be for every Nigerian. And so we need that. If it is not done, we are just playing to the gallery.
So will you also weigh in on the debate on power rotation, north-south? Some people say, the north has had it for this time. This is the time of the south. Some say it should return to the north. There's this that's really dividing the fabric of nationhood. What's your view on this particular power rotation debate?
As good as it is, just for fairness, that is, if the North has it for some time, the South should have it. For me, personally, this is my personal view, and it doesn't have to be the view of every person, is that, look, wherever we have the best candidate, wherever it's coming from, I don't care whether it is in the same region, let him be there. After all we want is dividends of democracy. If we can get the dividends of democracy, Nigerians don't care where you come from. If you can give us good road network, healthcare delivery, infrastructural development, educational system, if you give all that social systems, you can walk into the hospital and be sure that the hospitals are working and it's not a death trap. And you have these systems in place. Nigerians are resilient people. We are very, very hardworking. They will work hard for themselves. So for me, the region does not matter. And that's why I don't believe this issue of I'm a minority. For me, in my mind, in my mentality, I don't believe anyone is a minority in this country. We should know that wherever you are coming from, you should have right. And that's what I'm praying, that the president should be able to bequeath to us as he is now in the saddle of leadership.
Yeah, Bishop, these issues, some people will say they are not that easy, as you were saying it, because of the diversities in Nigeria. Even for the president, it might be a tall order. There is also the National Assembly that would have to tinker with the Constitution to make some of these things work. Now, I would like you to speak about our institutions. You talked about, INEC and, their failure in strengthening the electoral process. Let's look at other institutions now, because sometimes so much attention is always on the president, forgetting that we have the subnationals, we have the National Assembly, and we have also other institutions that are also supposed to function at the same pace and capacity with the government at the center. Would you say that, our institutions are also developing at the speed with which they should go?
Unfortunately, the whole issue lies again on the leadership. I pity the president, honestly. In my view, I pity him because so much is expected of him. But unfortunately, he's sitting on the rot of so many years. And people are looking for a miracle overnight. Our institutions are really not what they should be. And this is because of the fact that, corruption has become endemic from top to bottom. Everyone should accept responsibility for it, and they know that we are all on the floor, and that now has come the time for us to tell ourselves the home truth, that listen, we cannot continue on this downward trajectory and expect Nigeria to turn around. It will never turn around with this type of attitude. The hour has come for us to say, look, we want the Nigeria of our dream. I mean, look at our National Assembly. When I listen to the other institutions outside this country and see how passionate they are when it comes to issues concerning their citizens, just that there is a shooting in a school, it will occupy the mainline media. It will occupy their National Assembly or their parliament until a solution is found. What are we seeing here today in this country? People die like fowl, die like anything, and it looks as if it's nothing. Human life has become like killing chicken, and yet it means nothing. Insecurity is all over the place, and there are people running those institutions. They are bringing in fake products, fake medication into the country, and there are people running those institutions and allowing them to come. So the whole thing, there is a total breakdown of law and order. And I think that, and I pray that one day God will give us a type of leadership that will be both hard and have its own human face. Because the way I see things in this country, you don't need a kid's glove to change this country. No. Yes, it's not a kid's glove. It will never happen. Because every person is cornering his own area. Every area is somebody else's oil well. That is what is happening. And until there is honesty and sincerity on all of us that are Nigerians, we will remain where we are. That's why I don't believe in shifting leaders, shifting the whole blame on the presidency. That would be unfair. It's not right. It would be unfair.
Yeah, Bishop, you said that we need a leader who would not, treat the issues in the country, the challenges with kid gloves. This presidency has come with some kind of reforms, they call them some bold reforms, especially with the removal of subsidy, the unification of the exchange rate, and a whole lot of other reforms that, they say that indeed it's going to cause temporary pains, but there will be gains at the end of it. What's your view about the implementation of these reforms, and would you say they are well conceived?
As far as I'm concerned, the reforms on the facial value in terms of the policy is good, because the issue of oil subsidy has been on the front burner for many years, and we keep on hearing it and nothing happens, and now it's supposedly removed now, and plus other things that are put in place, and they are good on the face value. But one of the problems is this. One thing is to say that we want to ensure that we review our economic system in the country. But the leadership should also show, through the way they function, the Nigerians, that they are serious about it. You can't be telling me about economic reforms and then we are carrying around this number of convoy. A local government chairman will be moving on the road with that long convoy. He's spending money. Why do we need that for? Who is after him?
The cost of governance.
It should be reviewed. It should be reviewed, and those in leadership should be seen to lead the way. Then Nigerians will know they are serious. They can't be telling us tighten our belt, and they are not tightening the belt. I mean, unfortunately for them, the social media has made it so easy for anyone to know what is going on around the nation. So we cannot be wasting money. There is so much wastage in the country. And at times I ask myself, is it that there is no accountability? Is it that there is no one calling some of the governors and those who are in the National Assembly to order? I don't understand it. So that is one of the reasons why a lot of Nigerians feel that it's just a charade.
All right.
As good as the policies are, but they feel it's a charade.
Indeed, Bishop. Bishop, we're entering another election season now, approaching 2027. The last election, 2023, the church came under heavy criticism because some people say some pastors ceded their pulpits to politicians to use as a campaign platform. And some pastors also openly took sides, in support of certain candidates, be it local government, presidential, or senatorial. Should that be the case? We understand that as pastors, as bishops, you are also citizens of Nigeria, and you also have your rights, in a democracy. But should the pastors use their pulpits to influence their members or sway their members towards supporting certain candidates? Because we saw that happen, Bishop.
I don't believe in that. I mean, anyone who knows me knows I don't believe that our platforms should be used for political campaign. No. Why? My own reason, personal reason, is that, listen, in our churches, there are people with different political persuasions. And so if you now get up and say, I want all my members vote this party, there are people in your church that will revolt against you and tell you that's wrong. You can't tell me to vote for this party when I want this party. So that's why it is absolutely wrong for any pastor to get up on his pulpit and tell his people, this is the person you must vote for. The most you could do is to give direction. Put the options on the paper. Let the individual choose what they want. I'm not averse to church being involved in political process. They should be involved. In fact, it's one of the reasons why good people have not been thrown up as far as political positions are concerned. Because I remember in the past, we used to say that politics is a dirty game. And we discouraged our people from getting involved in politics. But I think while Archbishop Benson Idahosa was alive, that was when we started to review that idea, and we started educating our people that, look, you have to be involved in electoral process. It's a part of your civic responsibility. But it must not be that you will use the platform to throw up candidates and say, this is the candidate you must vote for. That's not right. So if that has happened, that must be a big mistake, but I don't think it's the right thing to do.
And we're also seeing, some churches, especially with sermons now, focusing more on prosperity. And some people say it's piling pressure on a lot of our members. It's kind of like a get-rich-or-die trying. And, these sermons are being pushed on from the altar at the time when we understand that there's a lot of challenges and hardship. Is not as easy as that. Even manna no longer falls from heaven. Bishop, you agree with me. But we still see some of these sermons, that kind of creates an atmosphere or present an atmosphere as if you attend certain churches, you become prosperous, or if you believe in certain doctrines, naturally prosperity will fall on you. What's your view about all of this? Because it's really an issue in the church today, beyond the message of salvation.
Well, let me tell you the truth. Much as we know that there are charlatans who are behind the sacred desk, pushing out wrong doctrine, just like in every profession, you have charlatans who do all manner of things. But I will not shy away from the fact that the word salvation is holistic. It's not just being saved from sin. It includes being saved from sickness, from disease, from poverty, from hardship, from disappointment, from frustration, or anything that the devil can give. It's a holistic word. It's a robust word. So when one receives Christ into his life, I expect that he will prosper all round. It's part of the package that was given to us as Christians. But if you are ignorant of it, you will be a Christian and still die poor. That's the truth. You will be a Christian, God still loves you, you will go to heaven, but you will not be useful here on earth, because here it is on earth that funds are used. Okay. You don't use sand to buy microphone. You don't use sand to buy to build a house. Indeed. So there is no way. There is a law that says, as long as the earth remains, seed time and harvest. And every one of us knows that harvest is always more than the seed. Indeed. So I will not, because of the irresponsibilities of some of the people behind the sacred desk, to deny the fact that God blesses when we give out of our appreciation of his benevolence to us.
All right, then. Thank you so much, Bishop Mike Okonkwo, for your time on the program. It was really an interesting conversation. I must thank you very much, and happy 80th birthday. Continue to pray for Nigeria, and God bless you, sir.
Thank you, Femi, for having me once again.
Thank you, sir. Yeah. Well, that's it on the program today.